My niece, Gretel Madeline Plagenza, came into my life on July 1st, 2012. We knew that she would be special. What we didn't know was that this new gift we were about to receive would be delivered with a diagnosis. In my profile essay titled A Precious Pearl, I wrote Gretel's birth story from my point of view. When Gretel was born, I was in Santa Cruz at cheer camp. Luckily, my sister was staying with Gretel's older siblings, so she was able to give me updates via text message. The first message I received was that she was born and weighed a small but mighty 6 pounds 14 ounces. The next message I received said that the doctors believed she was showing signs of having Down syndrome. That was hard to wrap my head around. The next message said that she would have to have surgery because she was born without an anus, which can be common amongst babies born with Down syndrome. The next one said that she had healed herself and would no longer need surgery. The last message I received said that they had named her Gretel because it meant precious pearl. When I arrived back from cheer camp, I finally got to go see her at the hospital in the NICU. She was so beautiful and I instantly fell in love. When I looked at her, I didn't see a baby with Down syndrome. I saw Gretel, a precious pearl. As you can see, Gretel allows me to have a connection with Down syndrome, and she is where my passion on the subject comes from. In my report essay titled Inclusion, I educated readers on students with Down syndrome and inclusion and mainstreaming. Inclusion is the act of having all students, typically abled and differently abled, educated together for at least 80% of the day, while mainstreaming occurs when a student with special needs, who is usually in a special education classroom, visits a typical classroom for part of the day and engages in non-academic activities. Many parents of students with Down syndrome wonder why their children are still being placed in a special education classroom when they are perfectly capable of learning in a typical classroom with typically developing students. That is what IEPs, or Individualized Education Plans, are for. IEPs consist of a group of people all working together to have the child placed where he or she needs to be to learn to the best of their ability. Many acts and laws have been passed to help people with special needs such as Down syndrome thrive in life, including the IDEA Act, which states that differently abled students have the right to learn in their least restrictive environment, or their LRE. People may never come to an agreement on schooling for students with Down syndrome, but what's important is that they thrive in whatever they do. In my problem solution essay titled Educate Yourself, I took a little bit of a different route. I included a few problems instead of just one and proposed solutions that I believe will help to make a difference in the lives of people with Down syndrome. The first problem I wrote about was doctors giving a diagnosis of Down syndrome. Many doctors don't know how to deliver the news of a diagnosis. Many times, instead of offering support and congratulating them, doctors ask parents multiple times throughout their pregnancy if they wish to get an abortion, simply because they can. I propose that doctors be required to become more up-to-date on giving and explaining a diagnosis. They should state a parent's options, but they shouldn't be allowed to go overboard and definitely shouldn't mention termination more than once. Another problem I wanted to educate people about is parts of society having a problem with people who have Down syndrome being a product of society. Many people disregard people with Down syndrome and don't believe they should be able to work. I proposed that more restaurants should hire people with Down syndrome and other special needs. I also believe that people with Down syndrome should be hired to model for clothing companies to spread awareness. In doing so, it might help people to become more educated, understanding, and accepting of people with different abilities such as Down syndrome. In my position essay titled Just Say No, I explained my distaste for abortion, especially in the case of a diagnosis of Down syndrome. One of the most controversial topics in today's society is abortion. An even larger controversy is connecting a disability such as Down syndrome to the word abortion. Many parents choose to abort their child when they receive an in utero diagnosis of Down syndrome because they are uneducated and may be swayed by their doctor. I strongly believe that abortion is inhumane and should not be performed at all, let alone simply because of an extra chromosome. My life is so much brighter with Gretel in it, and I couldn't imagine her not being here. Remember, every life has value. Thank you for watching.
Bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Gretel, say bye.